It all counts on the outcome of the Hurst-Osbo battle. Our first battle of the top 16. That is the Royal Purple Top 16. Royal Purple, the synthetic experts, the official engine oil of Formula Drift. Frederick Osbo leading that Rockstar energy drink, Toyota GR Supra. Jonathan Hurst in the Cash Racing G37. Frederick Osbo initiates in the bank really high. But look at Hurst, gains some ground. He wobbles his way to the side of Frederick Osbo. Now coming down into that first front flip. Oh, here comes Hurst. We got contact, but it continues on, the Norwegian hammer. Look at that, continues on through the course. The Rockstar front and center as Hurst. So the brand new stroked engine of Frederick Osbo and the Papadakis team holds it together. We saw that earlier with Sorensen and Forsberg, and now Hurst and Osbo, we got contact.
Wow, well, it is ratcheting up here in the top 16. Osbo, nice flick, great rate to angle, and right to the wall. Watch as he exits the bank. There is really no room between the back bumper and the wall for Frederick Osbo. And here comes, this is like a right cross right to the dome, but Osbo doesn't even flinch. He stays in it, stays online. Hurst again surging forward. He's in attack mode for sure, but a little bit too aggressive there. And luckily for him, Osbo stays in it, and it becomes a competitive matchup. But a couple little mistakes there, hitting the lead driver and making some adjustments, and much lower with less angle on the bank at the beginning. He made some improvements there. He started moving up, but just got the timing a little bit wrong here as Osbo into that decel zone and then into the outside zone, was able to absorb the hit without even really making an adjustment in any way, shape, or form, and getting right back into action.
Get that Hurst off his shoulder as Jonathan Hurst, you see him just tap him and then continues on. Well executed by Osbo, and that just shows you the sign of a champ and a potential two-time champ. All right, let's get Jonathan Hurst and Frederick Osbo back on the start line for a little bit of a squid game here. Red light, and then we go green light. Jonathan Hurst, there's the red light. Once they extinguish, it's green light time. Jonathan Hurst leaves the start line, a little slow roll. No cones hit. Here we go, run two of this battle. First battle of the Royal Purple, top 16. Jonathan Hurst initiates. Not as high as Osbo. Looks like Osbo gets in formation. Now Hurst past that inside clip. Into that second outside zone. There goes Hurst. Osbo, not as deep as Hurst, but I think he knows to kind of just keep a composure here. And now into that final outside zone. Well done. I mean, one of the best chase drivers in the game. So Ryan, I believe, again, unofficially with that, that would mean, again, if Osbo gets this win, that would mean Bakchis would be out of contention for the championship.
Yeah, that is right. It would put too many points in the court of Osbo as he chases down Hurst here. I think Osbo knows that he had an advantage after that first run, but Hurst very aggressively attacking that outside bank, 1 and 2, trying to minimize any corrections. Osbo looking for opportunities to attack here as he comes up on the inside, stays on the correct line against Hurst. An exclamation point there through the finish line. Is it enough to move Osbo one round ahead? He would be our first driver into the Grade 8.
Really well done by Jonathan Hurst. Again, just hats off to him. A great season for him. Paducah, Kentucky, Cash Racing, but unfortunately it comes to an end because Frederick Osbo gets the win, your #1 qualifier. And here we go with Kazuya Taguchi will lead here in the Royal Purple Top 16. Royal Purple, the synthetic experts. And here we go. Kazuya Taguchi will lead, Mohan giving chase. Start. Taguchi comes out of the chicane, finds himself up on the bank, up on the wall. Mohan lower, but now finds himself up top as he shifts his way up, and now past that inside clip. Kazuya Taguchi. Oh, Mohan goes deep. And Kazuya Taguchi, big angle. Mohan taps him, but Kazuya stays in it. Look at that. Kazuya Taguchi takes a nose to tail slap, but stays on it. Wow, that's the third time we've seen these dudes.
Right there.
Claims. Claims.
Seeing the clock tick down in the background for Dylan Hughes, 1 minute and 20 seconds left. But on track right there, some really amazing action from Kyle Mohan and Kazuya Taguchi. Let's get a second look at it here as Taguchi gets a nice little flick into the bank. Already high, up past that white line. Mohan has to make that adjustment, leaves a little on the table there. Now coming down into this inside clip. Nice movement there. Pretty decent angle from Taguchi into the second outside zone. Mohan surging forward. He's going to give more than a love tap to Taguchi. He's going to actually accelerate or increase the angle of Taguchi's car, and he's able to hang on to it. Mohan, after that, ends up on a tighter line, and so we will see a few deductions in the qualifying sense from Kyle Mohan, but comparatively speaking, we see exactly what Kazuya Taguchi needs to do in his chase. Obviously, he felt that contact, so now we will switch things up. It looks like Dylan Hughes is running out of time with just 20 seconds left to go. The car is on the ground, but it's got to be turned on and out of the hot pit area with no hands on vehicles in order to be eligible to run.
Yeah, the hood is popped. Noah Nelson, Cagle Johnson, even Dayton, his brother, all hands on deck. I don't think they're going to have enough time, and the clock expires. And I believe that'll be all she wrote for Dylan Hughes. A great, valiant effort there, but Dylan knew, you know, with everything that transpired. Round of applause for Dylan Hughes and his team. The Royal Purple O'Reilly Auto Parts BMW, unfortunately, not able to compete, but as he said, this is the first mechanical failure for him, but a great effort there. Also, I want to add that Kazuya Taguchi got that Kyle Mohan angle kit, threw some more angle into it. Oh, look at that! All right. Some people, if you're waiting for the Dodger Braves update, a lot of people I feel might be recording it right now because they're watching Formula Drift. Here we go. Kyle Mohan, Kazuya Taguchi. Kyle Mohan initiates. Kazuya Taguchi is body kit flapping in the wind. Mohan looking a lot more tidy out front. Kazuya Taguchi, he needs to make his presence felt. And now one more outside zone for Mohan and Taguchi. Mohan, big angle there. Ryan, I got to think Taguchi after a great lead run there for Mohan. But some mistakes there on that chase run for Mohan might have taken him out.
Well, I have to say, no matter the outcome here, the KMR team should be absolutely proud of what they've done the past couple of events and all the preparation leading up to this, finding out what they needed to do with the vehicle to get it to how it's performing now. And for a driver that's in the top 10 in Kazuya Taguchi, this being a heads-up battle is a really amazing accomplishment. As we take a look coming down here on the second bank on the inside, right before that inside clip, you could see Kazuya Taguchi found that area where he could attack, and he kind of stayed with it throughout the entirety of the second half of that course. We're going back to the contact that forced more angle into Taguchi, so a couple errors there by Kyle Mohan, but props to Taguchi for staking in it. And quickly the judges go in favor of Kazuya Taguchi.
Kazuya Taguchi will get the victory, advancing on into the Great Eight. So congratulations to Taguchi and Kyle Menace Mohan, exit stage left.
The other guys, he's not now because Osbo has made it through. He can certainly get into the top 3.
Yeah, yep. All right, here we go. Rome Charpentier, Vaughn Gittin Jr. as Rome, the Garagistic E36 BMW. Wow, Vaughn. You see him jump up to that wall, but doesn't have the angle that Rome's in. Now, coming on down to that inside clip. Let's see how Rome handles this second outside zone. Some wavering there from Rome, but look at Vaughn. Composed, bringing that second inside clip. Now bringing that final. Look at Rome Charpentier, as you said, very competitive. Going against, as you said, the defending champ. Dude, you're like Nostradamus in the drifting world. You look in, you see it, and it comes to fruition, man.
Well, you see Vaughn initiated a little bit later. That is really good strategically to keep proximity on the bank. And as long as you are initiated by the last standing cone, that's going to be fine in the judge's eyes. But he's got a lot to do here against Rome Charpentier, who's not missing many areas in the lead position. And in fact, he's running such a good lead run, it's allowing Vaughn to chase better. And Vaughn is trying to take advantage of those opportunities as Rome is getting super deep into that final outside zone. Strong competitive battle between both competitors. Rome is here to play, and now they're going to switch positions.
Vaughn Gittin Jr., the Type S lights are on. And again, Type S running a promotion. Go to typesauto.com/FD and receive 25% off of many different items. Here we go. Vaughn Gittin Jr. out front. Rome Charpentier in the chase position. Will this be Vaughn Gittin Jr.'s last ever head-to-head battle Formula Gym competition? Vaughn Gittin Jr., massive angle there. Rome Charpentier right in the mix. Now past that front clip. In that second outside zone. Vaughn Gittin Jr., massive angle, fills all of it. Now Rome shows up. Vaughn Gittin Jr. past the inside clip once again. Oh! Looked like Rome. You sound like Jay-Z right there, Ryan, saying just want to mention, oh! And we are going to go side by side. That BC Racing, go for gold. BC Racing, the official suspension of Formula Drift.
Well, one thing I know for sure is I would imagine that both drivers are basically out of tire. That was a lot of smoke being generated, tons of wheel speed there, and an awesome battle between Rome Charpentier and Vaughn Gittin Jr. once again. Who's going to get the nod? We will find out here shortly, but first let's take a quick recap of both runs side by side. Looking at the right-hand side of your screen, the most recent run with Rome chasing him down. Rome a little bit lower on the bank, but he adjusts towards the latter end. Vaughn a little bit lower towards the end. Coming through this inside clip, Rome nice and tight. Vaughn maybe a little bit of separation. Rome into that outside zone, follows Vaughn's line, and then they get through that inside clip. Vaughn was a little bit tighter in his chase run. Beautiful back and forth, diving in by Rome on this last section here. And this is a super close run with Rome, as we said, continuing to improve run by run. And to do that, to hang with a driver the level and caliber of Vaughn Gittin Jr. is massively impressive.
Yeah, that's running with the big dogs right there. And Rome hung tough. That was really, really a great job by Rome and Vaughn Gittin Jr. So look at that. And just like that, one more time.
Making a red flare.
Absolutely.
Coming in
clear.
quick.
Yeah, that was, I mean, we're splitting hairs. And those are the one more times you want to reward. Not the, you know. No. Jones giving chase. All right, we got the one, the only Grizzly Gutierrez. Grant Gutierrez in the building, cheering on his favorite Formula Drift drivers. What do we got? Odi Bakchis, Falcon Tires, Field Suspension, S15, Vortex Supercharged LS. We have Jeff Jones, 818, Nissan 370Z. And Jeff Jones did not pace himself accordingly. But look at Jeff, the Edelbrock Supercharger. Jumping up. Jeff Jones coming in hot. Oh! Pedals it back. Just enough, but Odi Bakchis pulls away. And now into that final outside zone. Really impressive. Again, Jeff has the horsepower. You see that?
Yeah, he's clearly got the grip and the speed, but he missed an opportunity, as you said, Jared, to maximize those comparative opportunities. Big gap here established by Odi. Got a great jump out of the gate. Now look at the line that Jones has to take in order to kind of close the differential. Through this second section here, if you saw that on the big bank, there'd be much more to talk about in terms of doing what the chase driver is supposed to do. The second half of this run is pretty good for Jeff Jones in terms of proximity and fulfilling the overall responsibilities, but Odi out front, very few mistakes. He was on a mid-high line on the big bank, and he's got an opportunity here to keep surging up the ladder if he can get through Jeff Jones.
So now Jeff Jones will get the clean air. He has the horsepower, but Ryan, you always say it, Odie Bakchis, one of the best chasers in the business. Just the way he can maneuver that S chassis over the years, from 13s to 14s and now 15s. He is a very, very impressive driver in that chase position. So here we go. Jeff Jones out front. Look at that, tip to tail, and now trying to go door for door. Jeff Jones, some more angle at it, but just not enough. Drops down that bank, and look at Odie, everywhere he went. That Jeff Jones went, Odie is right there. Some wavering there by Jones. But even with that wavering, the teal and blue shadow of Odie Bakchis is right there. Odie, the friendly goat, comes right on in and drops into formation. And that's why he's at where he's at. He has 2 wins. He's the most recent winner in Long Beach, and he started the season with the win in Atlanta.
Well, you know, you really can't give Odie Bakchis an inch of an opportunity. And on the big bank here, Jones runs down low on the bank, but Odie, being the veteran that he is, anticipates it and follows him right down there. And that just shows great vehicle control. I think a lot of this is going to come down to maybe a missed opportunity from Jones on the big bank. He looks strong. He had lots of speed and grip. He's an incredible driver. We love having him part of the series. He's so entertaining. But I think here tonight against Odie Bakchis, it was a tall ask. And with those mistakes, it might not be enough to give him the win here against Odie Bakchis.
And Jeff Jones coming into this round of competition, 11th place, and it looks like he will not better that. But you know what? Jeff Jones, a great effort, but just going away. I'm going to hang tough and potentially take down this defending champion, this 2-time champion of Von Gittin Jr. Rome Charpentier leads, higher qualifying driver, and here we go. Rome, aggressive flick on the bank. Von Gittin Jr. pacing him, mimicking the angle, about a car length distance. See how they handle this second outside zone. Look at look at Vaughn. Looks like he took a little bit of angle at it to gain proximity, but then goes right back. Oh, wow, look at this. That was an interesting angle there. We're gonna have to take a look at that. I don't know if Rome got out of shape or Vaughn got out of shape. That angle was very deceiving.
It looked like the front end washed out from Rome coming through that inside clip. But up until that point, both drivers had made marked improvements in their approach in both the lead and the chase. This time Vaughn doesn't go down low, less wavering, and nice and high on the bank is Rome Charpentier. But let's take a look at this second half here. Vaughn dives in, he's surging forward, he's trying not to exceed the front 2 wheels, but right here, Rome pushes out wide, and from the angle that we saw live, looking at his front wheels, it does look like the fronts kind of washed out a little bit as he was coming through that inside clip. And it would be in an unfortunate turn of events if he had some kind of malfunction there, because he was driving so great. And we are hearing a competition timeout, which is obviously at least some evidence that there may be something wrong with the vehicle, and he'll potentially be at a deficit, all other things being equal, going into the second half of this run, because he wasn't able to really connect that inside clip to the right line exiting that area.
And there it is, backing it in. Kevin Wells over there already with the clock, the 5-minute doom clock. Let's see what's going on with Rome Charpentier. Oh, man. Ryan, your thoughts on the doubleheader weekend here, Pro Spec, Pro. Very impressed with the Pro Spec, and obviously Pro right now is very impressive as well. But your thoughts?
Yeah, I would say strong to very strong.
Okay.
Overall, no, all kidding aside, it's been awesome to do this new format with the Pro Spec guys on the same day as Pro. As we take a look at the clock, just getting started here with Rome. They are super long days. You know, we're here super early and super late, but it is totally worth it to see the Pro Spec guys shine on the main day with the Pro guys, and then we get this really great show from the pro guys after they've been well rested and ready to go. And just hearing over the comms here, we got Lorette Nickel down there with Rome Charpentier. Lorette?
So Rome, tell everybody what's going on, why you call the competition timeout.
So on the outer zone 2, when I threw it in, the car didn't go where I pointed the car, the direction that I pointed the car in. And something feels loose up front because I felt chatter at the last part when I was diving into the inner clip. So I don't know if it's just track conditions changing, but it feels something loose in the front of the car. We just want to check it. We don't want to put either one of us in the wall. I know we're pushing really hard. So we just felt like it'd be better to call 5, check out, figure out what's going on with the front of the car, and then get back out there and drive safe.
Rome, thank you so much. Best of luck. The clock is still going, 3:20 right now.
All right, so we'll revisit the Rome and Von Gittin Jr. battle. We are moving on to what looks to be Forsberg and Olsen. So here we go. Chris Forsberg will lead. Simon Olsen will give chase. Who's going against Odie? He already defeated Jeff Jones. Chris Forsberg going in, initiating high in the bank. Simon Olsen, not as high. Forsberg, look at that, just absolutely magnetized to the wall. Simon Olsen drops down, now past that inside clip into that second outside zone. Forsberg, NOS energy drink, Nissan 370Z on GT Radial tires. Simon Olsen, street hunting it, track hunting it. Now into that last outside zone, the VR Powered Z brings it on across the finish line.
Something about Chris Forsberg tonight just seems a little bit more elevated, and it may be these high-risk maneuvers up on the big bank. He is really getting that rear bumper locked into an area that is pretty slippery, and he's staying super close to the wall. He also looks really fast. As we take a look at Simon Olsen here, struggling a little bit in the chase to try and connect to a similar line as Chris Forsberg through that final inside clip. Last opportunity here to attack, and then he'll have the lead run of his own. He is able to close the distance there, but Chris had a pretty solid lead that is going to be hard to match as they switch things up.
Yeah, very, very impressive by Forsberg. Simon Olsen, he's getting a little bit of a lesson here as we talked about, you know, his progression and getting the car dialed, talking to his mom and his dad and his family, and just overall Simon Olsen, a little bit nervous about this track. Does he have the power? Does he have, I mean, you got to think about how many times Chris Forsberg has seen that wall. He's, you know, seen the outside zones, the clipping points, all of that. So just, again, experience definitely helps out Chris Forsberg. Now Simon Olsen leading, Chris Forsberg giving chase. I think he's going to give himself a little bit of room here. You got that 2J powered Toyota Supra, Simon Olsen, but Forsberg, you see him gain some ground, catches right up to Olsen, now into that second outside zone. Goes Olsen, does not get all the way out there, but now into that second inside clip. In transition, you can see just the flames shooting out of the nostrils of that Nissan 370Z and across that finish line. Well done by Chris Forsberg and Simon Olsen. Let's take a look at it again here, Ryan. Simon out front with Forsberg in tow.
So Forsberg, I think he knows he's got an advantage here. He still wants to keep the pressure on. He doesn't want to make too many mistakes and put the dial back in the direction of Simon Olsen. Good mimicking maneuver there, coming through that inside clip. Surges forward. Olsen here off that second outside zone, staying away from the wall. So clearly the lead is better from the three-time champion. Forsberg also keeping the pressure on here. This looks like it's going to go in the direction of car 64 as they come through the finish line.
And here we go. Slide him left for Olsen or right for Chris Forsberg. And Chris Forsberg gets the win. Chris Forsberg gets the win. Here we go. Vaughn, could this be his last run? You said it, I'll say it again. This is his last run in the Formula Chip Championship. We saw that mistake by Rome. But Vaughn, you know, he does have kryptonite, let's see. But right now, not showing up at all. Von Gittin Jr. flexing on Rome Charpentier right now. Not going home just yet. Von Gittin Jr. says not today. Well done by Vaughn out front there, Ryan.
Yeah, and really a Herculean effort there from Rome Charpentier. Prudently calls that competition timeout, trying to make sure he stays safe on course for himself and for Vaughn. Does have that mistake coming off of the inside clip number 2, keeping the pressure on Vaughn, trying to find an area to attack. He surges forward, little adjustment in the angle there as Vaughn stays deep into that second outside zone, whipping through this second inside clip. Little front end movement there for Rome, and a final turn from both drivers as Rome closes the door and the gap through the finish line, but it might be too little too late as we will quickly go to the judges here for the result.
And we are seeing our grade 8 being shaped up. We have Frederick Osbo already in, and going against Taguchi will be Vaughn Gittin Jr. getting the win. Kazuya Taguchi on the corners of Michael Essa. And let's see what we got here. Who's moving on to the grade 8? Essa or Denofa? Michael Essa initiates. Really, that rate to angle solid there from Essa, but they'll get Denofa. You see him lunge forward, but he's not mimicking the angle. Does gain that proximity. Wow, very close. Just barely letting him pass by in front of him. In that second outside zone, Ryan. Essa filling all of it. Denofa, again, great proximity. He's nosing in. Denofa with 3 victories this year, 3 wins. Essa with no wins this season, but just a very talented driver.
Denofa may have been a bit too gripped up there relative to Michael Essa. He's definitely keeping the proximity there, but he's making some adjustments in angle, as you mentioned, Jared. He got super close there on the transition back around, had to back off. You can see he's got power on demand and grip on demand here. Essa's going through the course very smoothly. My guess is when they switch things up, we're gonna see probably a big gap from Chelsea Denofa in the lead, just because of what we're seeing in the chase here. He's struggling a little bit in trying to figure out where to attack, but not get too close to where there might be a hiccup and a collision or some contact. Nonetheless, he did balance it out pretty well, but Michael Essa had a strong lead that is gonna have to be taken into account by Chelsea Denofa.
Just knowing Chelsea and just his spotter and how the RTR team works, I'm expecting a bonkers run from Denofa right now. Just you can just tell Denofa, you know, he's second in the points. When he goes for a win, he really goes for it. We saw that in Long Beach against team owner Vaughn Gittin Jr. You know, he did make a mistake that caused him to check up, which Vaughn went to the side of him. All joking aside, but I'm telling you right now, expect a really wild run here from Chelsea Denofa.
You seem like a guy that's watched a lot of drifting.
Yeah, I have. I watched it a little bit. Here we go, Chelsea Denofa, big angle there, big angle from Chelsea Denofa, the BC Racing Ditto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR, ready to route it in that second outside zone. Chelsea Denofa, dragging bumper on the wall. Now in that final outside zone, smoking those Ditto tires, big angle for him. Tapping the brakes, and that's exactly what I expected. And it looks like he gapped Essa a little bit, left him from the line, but really a great run from both drivers.
When you see drivers able to close gaps in the chase run very quickly, but then they're struggling a little bit in kind of keeping the same angle, they're having to make movements with the front wheels to avoid an unnecessary contact. It's a lot of times it's because they have more grip in the car, and Denofa got out to a massive jump where Essa was not a factor on the big bank. Once the course gets a little bit tighter and a little bit more technical, then Essa has an opportunity to close the door, which he did, but he left a big gap out front, and that may be a deciding factor here. Even after an incredible lead run from Michael Essa, as he got out front and really didn't miss too many opportunities. In the chase run, he's forced to kind of be a little bit more on edge here, knowing that he's got to take advantage of every possible opening that Denofa gives him, and there's not a lot because he gets gapped right out of the gate on the back straight. He's like 6 car lengths back. Now Denofa works his way up the bank, but it's not until we come off the bank that Essa has kind of put himself back in the discussion here. And it's not because he's able to grip up and go faster. He has to cut the line a little bit, take a little bit of a tighter approach in order to gain back some of the ground that was that was lost from the onset with Denofa in the lead.
So I got to ask the question to you, Ryan. What's better or worse? Denofa being close in proximity but not really mimicking the angle, or that gap of Michael Essa back there quite a bit but then gains the ground? You know, it's kind of two half dozen, one or the other, you know, as they say.
Yeah, I don't know if they are exactly comparable, but I think if you want to get into the minds of the judges, it's in those adjustments that needed to be made, say from Denofa in the chase, where could you get away with them relative to everything else good that happened in the run?
Right.
And did Michael Essa have enough opportunity after the big bank to kind of get some back, to reel in Denofa a little bit? The gap part is going to be tough to overcome just because the big bank is so important on this course.
You can see the Type S lights are on underneath the vehicles and even on top of Chelsea Denofa's vehicle. And waiting for the outcome here. All right, so the verdicts are coming in here for Denofa and Essa. Michael Essa, Chelsea Denofa, slide him right for Chelsea Denofa. One more time, and the final judge says, one more time. Here we go, all teal and blue, Falcon Tire battle. We have the classic Mustang versus Corvette. JTP versus Matt Field. Again, Matt Field. Oh, look at it, oh, big hit. And Justin Pawlik. And here we are this deep in the 16, Ryan, and I'm very surprised. This is the first incident we've seen into the wall of this caliber. I mean, that was a pretty hard hit.
And that was an odd one in terms of how it materialized, because JTP actually had a lot of angle in his car, and when he touched the big bank wall, it was with really the backside of the bumper in the middle. And it maybe because he had nothing more to give in that area. See right there, where the front end then swoops around, and he did hit the wall pretty hard. So there could be some extensive damage potentially.
He was like 90 degrees. Watch, you said it, like you said, the backside. Look at angle, 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 grab, go.
Yeah. So typically we see the right side of the car, and the right side of the bumper is the one that gets up in the wall. JTP had so much angle, it's almost the middle of the back bumper, and when he taps there, it slingshots his car right into the wall. And luckily Matt Field looks like he was able to avoid anything major, but they did make contact, and hopefully JTP is okay, and the vehicle could potentially be repaired, but it is going to be a tough break there for Justin Pawlik.
Yeah, and you wonder what the skeletal system looks like. I mean, the bash bars out back, because yeah, what the skeletal system looks like, and did it grab? And Ryan, you're talking with the judges.
Yeah, no, we'll pull this back up once we come back from break, but one of the judges pointed out next time we go to a replay on that run, Justin Pawlik's headlights kind of flicker out when the back bumper touches it. Just they're wondering if the car may be powered down at some point due to the contact.
Yeah, hit the power source or something like that. So we will clean up here in aisle 1 after a Falcon Tire crash by. Congratulations. Right now, let's see who moves on to the grade 8. Michael Essa, Chelsea Denofa. One more time battle. Leaving it all out on track. Here we go. Michael has a quick little quiver of that front wheel, but look at Chelsea Denofa jump to the side of Essa, and now coming to that second outside zone. Wow, look how deep Chelsea Denofa is digging himself into that. Oh, we got tire-to-tire contact. Chelsea Denofa comes unwound. That is not where you want to hit when you go contact. You could hit door, you could kind of rub, give a little birthmark there, but unfortunately, when you go tire to tire, that's going to disrupt one or both vehicles.
It's always interesting to think about what the teams do in the interim after a one more time, if they make adjustments, if they dial in more grip or dial out more. This time again, nice and high on the bank is Essa, but Denofa still pretty quick. He backs off a little bit to attack. Now coming into this second outside zone, surging forward, and it gets a little hairy here as Essa comes through this inside clip. He makes a slight adjustment there, and Denofa taps him, but stays in it. Great save overall. Essa doing a pretty good job in that third outside zone, but getting a little hairy there for both competitors. Let's take a look at it from this angle here. Let's watch Michael Essa out front. Denofa may have tapped the wall there a little bit too. And then right there, as Essa was coming up towards the inside clip, maybe a little bit tight, Essa actually pushed him around the inside clip as they made contact. And there we are seeing the competition timeout starting to get down to about the halfway point for Justin Pawlik.
Look at Justin, all hands on deck. We got Insta Big Steve in the building. He's working on the vehicle. We got the whole JTP hotline crew. Now we're going to alternate orders. I will tell you, at second glance of that Denofa hit to Essa, that front right going to that back left, Denofa didn't get thrown off as much as I thought. On just first glance, it seemed that the car got really disrupted. It kind of just bounced off and glanced off, and it didn't come unwound as I thought.
Yeah, where he was at on that inside clip, he actually made it look like a really good save. So obviously, depending on how the judges look at that, there may be a mistake on both sides. If Essa wasn't carrying momentum through that section, or he was on a tighter position of the course. It almost looked like when Denofa tapped him, he pushed Essa's car actually on the right part of the course through that inside
We saw
clip.
that earlier with Taguchi as well. All right, here we go. Now Chelsea Denofa goes into the big bank. Michael Essa. Oh, doctor, look at that. Denofa riding the wall. Essa right there. Remember, Denofa is fighting for a championship. Is he going to show up? The Type S lights are on, and so is the smoke signals. But what is it saying about Denofa and his line? Essa right there, a former champ, fighting back against Chelsea Denofa. The bumper budging. Keep going! Wow! And the crowd here at Irwindale erupts. Ryan, and that's kind of what we expected from Denofa on that first run. But I'll tell you what, Essa, again, he's read this book before. He knows what Denofa can do, and hopefully the spotter says, send it, full pull.
Yeah, clearly they made some changes or something transpired that gave Essa just a little bit more this time around, sticking with him on the bank, not giving him a gap at all, and surging forward on the attack. He comes up on a tighter line. Look how fast Chelsea Denofa is blasting through that second outside zone. There's a compression on that inside clip through the smoke line. Great job by Essa, but right here, the front end grips up and he slows down, straightens out through that last section there. And obviously that is going to be a very pivotal part of the overall analysis from the judges. Michael Essa surging down low on that second outside zone, trying to make his way up, and obviously a mistake in doing so. But really the main point of contention, I'm sure, for the judges is going to be right there. What happened right there that forced Michael Essa out of drift?
And you got to think, Denofa, he knows the tires are baked. Let's just go and pull him out of the oven right when he crosses the finish line. He's not going to leave anything out, left on his tires. So you can just see him just absolutely just hammering down. And 30 seconds left, Ryan. And Justin Pawlik is underneath the vehicle. That's 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Not going to happen. That's unfortunately all she wrote for JTP. Going too hard, 10-9. So 5, 4, 3, 2, and so Major JTP will have to park it, unfortunately, for Justin Pawlik.
Yeah, this is looking to be a tough call for the judges here, because I think they are really wanting to get a close look at how the events took place in that last section of the course. That's on the right-hand side of the screen with Michael Essa in the chase. There's that bump on the left-hand side from Denofa. And right here, Denofa, massive left foot braking through that section there. And Michael Essa comes unwound. Huge implications here. Denofa loses. He's out of the championship. Essa wins. He's going to jump up quite a few spots.
Yep.
He currently is sitting in 11th place, and that would bring the championship down to Frederick Osbo and Matt Field, depending on the outcome of this battle.
Well, you mentioned Matt Field, JTP not making the competition timeout. Matt Field will have his bye run. He advances on. So Matt Field will go through the course in his Corvette, and he waits to find out who he's going to go against.
Yep, he will.
So that's gonna will he surpass Denofa if he gets knocked out? Because they're separated by how many points?
Yeah, you can see Jim is updating this in real time right now, and Matt Field will jump over Chelsea Denofa. All other things being equal, at this point in competition, he would move into second place if Denofa were to get knocked out here.
All right, here we go. Slide him left for Essa, right for Denofa. There's a one more time. And another one more time. Lontaine, you're the only Canadian judge. An OMT. Ryan Tuerck. Toyota, Rockstar, NATO Tires. Here we go. Frederick Osbo, Ryan Tuerck in the Great Eight. Frederick Osbo initiates. Ryan Tuerck just does the same. And look at that, Frederick Osbo not even affected by Ryan Tuerck in his presence. Now transitions past that first inside clip. Coming in that second outside zone. Frederick Osbo brings it on in. Ryan Tuerck does the same. Look at that. Digging himself into that NATO Tire smoke. Ryan Tuerck surges past that second inside clip. Approaching, pulling some tire up. Three-wheel motion by Frederick Osbo. Norwegian Hammer. Ryan Tuerck makes some noise. Irwindale.
Well, it's been a continuous theme that even when the championship becomes a little bit more clear, as we saw with Denofa and Von Gittin Jr. in Long Beach, and here with Osbo and Ryan Tuerck, they are still going to push 100% on both sides of the plate. Osbo, known to be an incredible lead driver overall. This looks like a 95-point qualifying run yet again. But Ryan Tuerck sticking with him, chasing him down, surging there. Good mimic back around as Osbo hits that last outside zone with Ryan Tuerck just on a very, very slightly tighter line for about 20 feet. But then he gets right back in it, and we got a great battle on our hands here.
And here we go with Ryan Tuerck out front and Frederick Osbo giving chase. It looks like there's some debris, as Ryan likes to say, debris. A little debris out there on the T-rack. The Gum Out Racing, the Gum Out Toyota Racing Corolla hatchback. Shout out to the race service homies. I know they're watching from Austin. And there's that Toyota Tundra. Thank you to Toyota for loaning us that vehicle for the entirety of the season, making its way cross country and navigating the United States of America. Thank you to Toyota, as we see an all-Toyota battle on the start line. Ryan Tuerck will lead, alternating position. Frederick Osbo will chase him down. Somebody really needs to bring the X factor, or, hate to say it, a major mistake needs to happen in order for some advancement here. Two veterans of drifting, not even Formula Drift. I mean, Frederick Osbo came into view of the Red Bull Drifting World Championship years ago with the Supra, and here he is behind the wheel of a new Supra, and he has flying that Toyota flag for many years. Here we go, Ryan Tuerck out front. Ryan Tuerck throws it high, and look at that, Frederick Osbo, not as high, but he massages it a little bit up, as now coming into that first inside clip. Transition is Ryan Tuerck back to inside clip into that second outside zone. Mimicking each other. Ryan Tuerck with a little bit more angle than Frederick Osbo, a little bit lower line there from Freddie as he takes out that second inside clip into that last outside zone. And Frederick Osbo right there to the side of Ryan Tuerck. Ryan, we are splitting hairs of hairs of hairs. Absolutely a gunfight. A duel, if I may.
Yeah, I mean, we are getting some super high caliber drifting here from both Ryan Tuerck and Frederick Osbo. Osbo initiating at basically the same time as Tuerck, showing a lot of confidence there, barely giving him an inch in the chase run, trying to adjust where Tuerck was going on the course as he moved from high bank down off the bank. Now into this second one, Osbo pushing the pace through the inside, just tapping that inside clip, coming through the smoke line here. Tuerck opening up towards the edge of that outside zone, but Osbo following him all the way through and seeing just an incredible display of drifting from both drivers. Osbo smartly following the line and really giving a lot of pressure to Ryan Tuerck here. Tuerck does a great job on that inside clip. He's mid-high line on that outside zone. Great pressure all around. And just phenomenal drifting by these two drivers. Obviously very comfortable with each other and giving us a tremendous show.
Taking a look at the BC Racing Side by side, BC Racing go for goal, the official suspension of Formula Drift. And both Toyotas, cool, calm, and collected. Matt Sopa, our starter, waiting patiently, taking a look at the instant replay. Side by side, it really shows some kind of delineating factors. Osbo leading on the left, Tuerck leading on the right. Ryan, your thoughts as we walk us through this. See Osbo high.
Yeah.
But I'm really taken back by Osbo's initiation on the chase of Ryan Tuerck.
Yeah, I mean, the big bank is certainly, you know, going to be a factor here. I love the way that Ryan Tuerck surged to that inside clip. Osbo had a little bit more distance on Tuerck on the big bank. I mean, this is close. This is, you know, one of those ones where it's not like mistakes leading to a one more time, but sometimes when a run is so close, there is just enough from one driver to say, you know what?
Here we go, here we go. And again, championship implications on the line. If Frederick Osbo gets knocked out, sorry to cut you off there, Ryan, but this has huge implications, you know what I mean? So one more time, and Frederick Osbo gets the win. I hate to cut you off, but we know what's at stake here.
No, it's all good.
Who's pulling for Michael Essa? Make some noise. Who's pulling for the number 88, Chelsea Denofa? Who's pulling for some great action? Make some noise. Who's ready to send it? Keep those lights up. Larry Chen photo on the gram. Here we go. Michael Essa, Chelsea Denofa. Keep the lights up and keep the House of Drifts lit. Here as Michael Essa, SCP Euro, Liquid Molly, BMW comes down the pipe. Chelsea Denofa there in tow for the third one more time. Chelsea Denofa nosing in. Light up the track. Wheel to wheel, rubber to rubber. Transitioning past the inside clip. Into that second outside zone goes Essa and Denofa. Burn him to earn him. Risking for the biscuit. Past that second inside clip. Chelsea Denofa falls back a little bit. Big snappy angle from Michael Essa. Looks like it grips up and Denofa spins.
It's another incomplete, but by who? That is the question. Denofa was not giving an inch.
No.
He wanted to make this run, this chase run, unambiguous.
Don't leave it in the judge's hands.
Right out of the gate, he surges forward. He may have even nicked the tire there. That is insane. And he backs off a little bit here on the inside clip, but I mean, maybe by like 4 inches. Unbelievable, and you can see he's keeping a lot of angle in the car relative to last time. He's not having that surging approach. Much better on the setup. And Michael Essa looks like he was not able to get deep into that zone there, at least at first pass, but Chelsea Denofa was anticipating that he was going to go a little bit deeper there. And if we've got the drone, that'll certainly be a really great look. Here it is. It's going to be all on this, I would imagine, because the next run's going to be insane as well. Here's Essa. He gets into the zone. He gets on the brakes. And I think Chelsea Denofa may have had nowhere to go. I don't want to make a strong claim, but...
You might have just done that.
Yeah. I know this is tough. Essa was trying to get into the deeper part of that zone. He was unable to. And Denofa was in such proximity as he transitioned, and he kind of, you even called it, he backed off for a second and then surged forward, but by that time, Essa had not reached into the deeper part of that zone.
Yeah.
It's all proximity all the time for Denofa.
That looked like a tap right there,
up until this point, and then there may have been another one as well. Watch right here. He backs off. Now he's surging through the smoke line. Essa's right there. He's on the throttle there. Essa brakes. Looks like he's off throttle, or at least not carrying forward momentum. That may go against Essa.
Yeah, that might go against Essa in the lead. And looks like Chelsea, the helmet is off. And the car is broken down, so we will get a flatbed out here. Get Denofa. While All right, here we go. Moving on to Kazuya Taguchi and Vaughn Gittin Jr. Second battle of the Link Engine Management Grade 8. So again, Osbo's already in the Final Four. The winner of this moves on to the Final Four to go against Osbo. Kazuya Taguchi, Vaughn Gittin Jr. Kazuya Taguchi initiated into the Big Bang. I'm telling you, Kazuya Taguchi, one to watch. And he is not going to let Vaughn Gittin Jr.'s retirement get into his way. And now into that second outside zone. And look at that big angle from Kazuya Taguchi. Now to that last outside zone by Taguchi and Vaughn Gittin Jr. Bring it on around. Ryan, what are your thoughts of that run there, bud?
Yeah, Vaughn made some really nice adjustments as they were getting into certain parts of the course where there's compression. You can see here Taguchi right out of the gate got a nice high line there. Vaughn made a good adjustment. A little bit of wavering from both drivers. Vaughn with a little bit less angle for a sustained period of time. Now coming down into that inside clip. Once again, you see that Taguchi takes that great line. Vaughn surging forward, adjusting. He's trying not to hit Taguchi. He's got a little bit more grip dialed in there. But he did make some good adjustments, shows some great control of the vehicle overall. But Taguchi is laying down a clean lead run. This is very similar to the Essa Denofa battle where it's somewhat clear that the lead driver on the first part of the first half of the battle is a little bit slower in general, and the chase driver is having to make those adjustments so they don't run into that lead driver and cause a collision or contact. Vaughn made some good adjustments in doing so. I would not be surprised if he establishes a gap here, but we've seen this story told already, resulting in multiple one more times. But let's see how Taguchi adjusts as he will now go to the chase position.
And Ryan, when you say compression, you're meaning compression of the vehicles coming together and getting good proximity.
Yeah, like harmonica style.
Right. Okay.
Is that how? Is that a harmonica?
That would.
I mean, no. What's accordion? Yeah, accordion
Yeah.
style, not harmonica.
Yeah. Harmonica's a that's an air. That's an air instrument as opposed to. I'm gonna guess an accordion is, but accordion. All right. So when they compress, here we go. The second half of this battle. Vaughn Gittin Jr. will be up front because we get Taguchi to chase position. Now here goes Vaughn. Monster Energy, Ditto Tire, Ford Performance, Mustang RTR Spec 5. Kazuya Taguchi, riding to, Taguchi goes into the wall. Now Vaughn Gittin Jr. does need to complete the entirety of this run, and he will be going on into the Final Four. A couple more clips, we got that inside clip and now outside zone, and Vaughn Gittin Jr. will be finding himself in the Final Four. Gittin on his retirement night ends up in the Final Four.
Well, Kazuya Taguchi was making an adjustment up on the big bank and got that rear bumper into the wall, and we know what happens when that transpires. The front end on the right-hand side did not go JTP style, so it does look a little bit better, at least at that first glance there, but obviously it's an incomplete. He's going to lose the battle. Yeah, grateful that he is okay. That was the second run there, so let's make it official.
Slide him left for Taguchi or right for Vaughn Gittin Jr. Vaughn Gittin Jr., defending champion, moves on into the Final Four. So already in the Final Four, Frederick Denofa will get the clean air. Essa will chase him down. Points at stake, championship on the line. Osbo's in the Final Four. Who's advancing on into the Great 8? We're still at 16 with these two gentlemen. Chelsea Denofa initiates. Medium high on the bank, works his way up top. Essa, not as much angle, but now goes to the side of him. Past that front inside clip. Into the second outside zone. Denofa dragging bumper. And Essa trying to catch him. And then into that final outside zone. Lifting that front right tire is Chelsea Denofa. And bringing it across the finish line. Ryan, again, trying to remind the fans of what happened on that first half of that battle.
Well, no matter what, it's going to be a split decision because of the split decision on fault. You're going to have a situation where each of the judges is going to be forced into a certain call because there was an incomplete. So Denofa has an incomplete for one of the judges. Essa has an incomplete by two of the judges. So what happens on this run, whether or not they give an advantage to Essa or Denofa, you're going to see a split decision either way. Now to the battle at hand, you see Essa down a little bit lower, starts working his way up to try and keep the proximity on Denofa, who comes through that first inside clip, surging on the attack from a lower line and then getting back there once again is Essa. A little bit of a gap, a little bit of wavering. Now on this final section here, Denofa gets into the outside zone at the right time. Here comes Essa closing the door. It wasn't an incomplete on the second run, so it was clean all the way around. So if you think Denofa did better there, or you think Essa did better there, it's going to have an impact on the score, but it's going to be a split decision either way because of the fall for contact.
And here we go. Slide him left for Essa, right for Denofa, and Essa gets one vote. Chelsea gets one vote. And Chelsea Denofa gets the win. And Chelsea. Odie leaving the start line. Forsberg in the chase position. Odie Bakchis initiates into Big Bang. Odie, massive angle there. Forsberg gets up there, taps that wall. Taking a very odd line as Forsberg now into that second outside zone. Here goes Odie. A lot more posture there. Oh, and Forsberg straightens out. A big direction there by Forsberg. And Odie continues on through the course. Ryan, what happened to Forsberg?
From what we've seen from Chris so far this weekend, and especially tonight, he has been on point and looking like one of the best drivers out there. This time around, notice the initiation is down a little bit lower on the bank. He taps the wall there, makes a great save, but just doesn't seem like he was as consistent as he's been in previous battles. Now he's surging forward here, but watch the front end. As we leave the last section of that zone, it washes out. And he may have even touched Odie there, but it's going to be a massive mistake, probably very near to an incomplete from Chris in the chase position. And it looks like Odie Bakchis at first pass has got himself a bit of an advantage here. Now, for Odie in the chase position, knowing that, he can play a little bit of a safer game here. Chris has got to go all out, if that's the determination on the field.
Well, you wonder what caused that. So was it a mechanical? We saw him initiate and then just massage the car back up into that bank. Took an awkward line. I mean, he was absolutely on it. If we can recall, back when we kicked things off, him and Brandon Sorensen going at it. So, he tapped him, stayed in it, and pinned it. So we are cleaning up some debris here. Look at all the black rubber on the wall. And that wall is serving a million customers here tonight. But again, we talked about Chelsea Denofa, 605 points, Matt Field 604, but notably 33 points behind Osbo and 32 points behind are those two gentlemen. Chris Forsberg will now lead. Odie Bakchis will chase him down. Second run of this battle. Who's moving on to the final four? The winner going against either Chelsea Denofa or Matt Field. Clean start, no cones in. Here goes Forsberg and Bakchis. Forsberg now back to the form we saw him earlier. Odie Bakchis definitely has some great proximity, doesn't mimic the angle, but definitely right on him. And look at that, lunges forward, and there's Odie Bakchis, one of the best chasers in the game, Forsberg. Now he assumes the position and puts the car in all the right places, snaps back into that outside zone, but Ryan was that mistake by Forsberg. Unfortunately, that means that Forsberg will get knocked out, and Odie Bakchis will take the win, but a great effort there by Forsberg.
The timing by Odie Bakchis on outside zone 2, and we'll get to that pretty quickly here. I think you're absolutely right. Chris was right back on his game, but the timing here from Odie to get in the pocket surge forward is absolutely on the razor's edge. A little bit more and he's in the wall. Not enough and he's coming up shallow. He didn't need to do that if the call on the field is that Chris incompleted or straightened out on his own, which I think that's what it's going to be. And Odie is not leaving anything in the judges' hands here tonight. He looks like he is in a great position to move forward here. And for Forsberg, it's been a great night of overall competition from him, but just looks like a costly mistake at the wrong time against a great competitor like Odie Bakchis.
All right, taking a look at this. Again, who's moving on to the Final Four, Odie Bakchis or Chris Forsberg? Taking a look at the BC Racing side-by-side instant replay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is for verification purposes or whatnot, but it looks like one judge has already gone in for Odie Bakchis. I think the other two just trying to verify here that Chris did unwind the front end on his own. There is a decel zone there, so the judges taking a second look. It's gonna turn on that, obviously.
And awaiting the judge's verdict here to see who moves on. Already in, Osbo and Gittin. And we have, after this, we will be seeing Chelsea Denofa and Matt Field.
So a little bit more trouble here from the judges than we kind of expected. We said one judge went in right away, and there's two judges up here that are having a tough time with the deliberation. We may see something that may at first glance be counterintuitive. Let's find out here.
And Ryan, looks like we do have a final verdict here, and I'm gonna have Lantain put on his headset here before we go into our next battle, Denofa and Field. And I saw which way he went, but 1 for Odie and 2 for Odie, and then finally a vote for Chris Forsberg. But Lantain, you said Odie Bakchis. What say you?
Yeah, I was really torn between what happened at outside zone 2 between Chris and Odie. It appeared at first glance that it looked like Odie slowed within the zone, which
The time. This is going to be a barn burner. This very well could be the battle of the night. Fighting for the championship, bragging rights. Here we go. Denofa, Matt Field, tip to tail. Go to that first outside zone. Denofa throws some angle at it. Taps the wall. Matt Field slides into position. Right there's a dogfight. Past that inside clip goes Denofa. Now in that second outside zone goes Denofa. Now Field. And into that second front clip. Field has the proximity, not exactly the angle. And falls back a little bit there. And Field shores up a little bit as they cross that finish line.
Matt Field went exactly to the back bumper right out of the gate and stayed with Denofa on the bank with great proximity here. I mean, that is almost mirror conditions. A little bit of wavering around, but not a lot. Really close battle so far. Diving in on the inside, Denofa. Also a little bit of wavering as he gets positioned. Here comes Field, a little bit less angle there. Field, he's driving through the smoke line now. He may have got lost and had a little bit of a stepped transition to that final outside zone. And a great way to start this very important battle here between Chelsea Denofa and Matt Field.
Yeah, that was surprisingly, I think, a little calmer of what I expected of those two gentlemen. But now they both have what's remaining of their tires underneath them. And we can see cutting off the bumper. I mean, Chelsea Denofa goes through a bumper every run like he goes through tires. But this is the standings coming in. This the current points standings. This is, yeah, all top 5 drivers are still in it. Osbo, Denofa, Field, Odie, and Gittin. All of those drivers are still in it. Look at that.
And that's it.
And that's it. And that's literally it. So Osbo versus Gittin, Bakchis versus TBD. Denofa, well, to be Denofa or TBF, to be Field. We will find out. So it's all about Denofa and Field. And here we go with run 2. Look at how back Denofa is. Is that smart? Is that wise? Here we go. Let's send it, boys. Here we go. Field and Denofa. The second run of this battle. And that's a restart. What are your expectations here, Ryan? What's going to happen? You're going to exhale, and you're going to tell me the future.
Yeah, you know, I mean, there's an intuition that says somebody's going to wreck because they are pushing as hard as they possibly can because they know they cannot give an inch to the other driver. There's an intuition that says it could be a one more time, just given how consistent both drivers have been. I don't know. I have no crystal ball here.
No? Usually you're pretty good at the predictions. I just think the way Field's been, now with Field out front, I think he's really going to throw down and drop the hammer. The question is Chelsea going to be able to mimic the angle a second restart? And that would be insane as the fireworks explode. And Matt Field has 2 strikes.
Oh, boy.
And this is where, I tell you what.
A little nerve-wracking.
This is very nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
And we've only seen 2 ever strikeouts, meaning 3 strikes and you're out. But right now, Field needs to ensure he doesn't jump the light or he hits the cone. Relax, breathe. Let's get a clean start. If Matt Field loses this due to strikes, that is a major, major, absolute twist of the story. Clean start, here we go. Matt Field, Chelsea Denofa. Matt Field throws it in. Good angle, throw some more at it. Look at that, dragging bumper! Whoa, look at that. Now pass. Oh, Chelsea Denofa dives in on the wrong side of that inside clip. That's a major mistake by Denofa. We haven't seen it all night. But now he backs it in that bumper once again with a lack thereof. Matt Field could see himself into the Final 4. Make some noise! Wow!
We are about to say, and there was 2, and it's one of these guys that is not going to be part of that equation. It's Osbo and somebody, and it looks like Denofa may have made a critical mistake here in the chase position, but looking at how hard he is driving, it's hard to fault him. It looks like he may have got lost in the smoke on the transition there. He center punches that inside clip, and given what we saw in the first run, that is clearly the largest mistake overall. If he has gone 2 tires off there, if he has center punched that clip.
That's going to be a major mistake. But did Field throw him off? I don't think so. I mean, he was on that front clip.
Yeah.
Field pulls away. Watch Denofa back this thing in.
But right here on that, if we just isolate this last section here, this is amazing. Right in the pocket. Boom.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, and the way Field backed it in, I mean, that was a really good battle. But I just call it like I see it, and that's what we do, right? Is I didn't see anything suspicious of Matt Field's lead activity to throw Chelsea Denofa off of going and center punching that inside clip. And we have not seen much of that here tonight. Interestingly enough, right?
No, we haven't. And there is a tendency for drivers to get lost in the smoke, but many of these guys have great muscle memory. This may be an occasion of that. As we take a look at the side-by-side here, Matt Field in the chase position, you're going to notice that he gets right to Denofa, and he navigates in that section. He also hits that inside clip, but it was not as aggressive. Denofa's apparent mistake, definitely bigger in scope, at least from what it seems like there. And then you're not really seeing anything else that stands out to you. Here we go.
So the big thing is, yeah, so slide him left for Denofa, right for Matt Field gets the win. Matt Field gets the win and advances on into the Final Four.
What a tough night for Chelsea Denofa. You have to give him props. He had a chance at the championship all the way through the entirety of the season. And Matt Field as well. They meet in the Great 8. Field moves on to the Final Four. And that is going to give him 80 points now. Yep. So he is going to jump to second place automatically. And now it becomes a two-man race. Chelsea Denofa out of competition. He will not be the 21 champion. He will conserve third place, and it's going to be a battle between Matt Field and Frederick Osbo. Osbo, if he wins this Final Four battle, looks like he is going to potentially take the championship, because even if Matt Field were to win and get 100 points, the point differential would be 11 points. So Osbo wins this battle, he wins the champion. He wins the championship.
If he loses, what happens if he loses? So he'd get 80 points.
So yeah, if Osbo loses this battle, he sticks at 80 points.
And say Field moves on.
Let's say Field wins the event. They're tied, but Field would win the championship because he finished higher at the most latest round.
Win-win. Wow, Lorette Nichols down there with her most recent winner, Matt Field.
Well, Matt Field's feeling really good after that. Matt, I know we're looking forward. The obvious question is the championship. How do you take this to the final?
I don't really give a crap about that right now. I'm just trying to win the race.
All right, that's what I figured you were going to say. How's everything running for you? You good?
Yeah, definitely. We took a little bit of a hit from Chelsea in the right rear, so obviously we're going to have to put some time and focus on that, but I'm feeling real good. I think my lead runs are about as strong as they've ever been at this track, ever, and when I'm doing chase runs, sometimes at the end of the run, I can't believe what I just did. So hopefully I continue on that path. But yeah, we're feeling good, and the car is definitely hooked up.
Matt, thanks for your time, guys.
All right. There's Matt Field, a lot of confidence in his corner. His eyes are on the prize. He just wants to win the event, not thinking championship, one step at a time. And the scenario here is that the Final Four is set. Osbo versus Gittin, Odie versus Field. So if Osbo loses, Field would have to win the event. So win in the Final Four and win the event, and Field would get the overall win. But if Osbo wins here, he would get the 2021 championship.
We're back to the Brudski no-back scenario. It's in Osbo's hands, right? It's in his camp. He controls his fate. Win this battle against Gittin, win the championship.
Yeah.
Lose this battle, it goes into Field's corner as a controlling factor. Unbelievable.
Yeah, absolute crazy turn of events here. Just Matt Field, Chelsea Denofa overall, just some exciting driving overall. And yeah, the stage is set for our Final Four here at the House of Drift. And it looks like so as we are trying to get Osbo and Gittin, and there they are, Gittin, Osbo. And there we are seeing Vaughn Gittin Jr. and Frederick Osbo, the one side of the Final Four bracket. Vaughn Gittin Jr., again, stepping away from competition. What a great swan song for him. I mean, even just being here in the Final Four, defending champion, 2010 champion, you know, 2020, and here he is getting knucks from his teammates.
Yeah, you know what he wanted to have happen there was for Field to lose to Denofa, and then he could become responsible for taking out Osbo, and then Denofa, it goes back into his hands to win the championship. But that possibility is off the table now. Vaughn Gittin Jr. is running solo. He could become a massive spoiler on his way out.
Yeah, right.
Take this event and defeat the championship here for his rival, Frederick Osbo, who has legitimately been a rival of his for many, many years, and going back to some really crazy events that transpired by those guys way back in the day at Road Atlanta and many other venues. So, oh, man.
And we are getting ready for these gentlemen to throw down. And Vaughn Gittin Jr., Frederick Osbo again. Vaughn Gittin Jr., two-time champion. Frederick Osbo would love to do that here once again. And just, you look at the posture of Matt Field. He's just not thinking about championship, not, just a little more aggressive, but calm, but just this kind of nature, right? You see Frederick Osbo, look at the computer. Looks like he's, checking out his emails, just different status, different stature, different schools and trains of thought, but at the end of the day, they want to win, they want to advance on. So Frederick Osbo, Vaughn Gittin Jr., this is the Type S top 4. Ryan, what are your expectations here? How are they going to approach this battle? Again, we've seen, seems like Vaughn Gittin Jr. has a good pace, he has a good cadence to him. But what are your expectations? What do you expect, seeing what we've seen from that of Osbo and Gittin through the night? And I mean, look at their path to success and who they've gone through as well. The
possibility of carnage is definite high probability, but Vaughn has definitely also been very tempered at this event. He's made very little mistakes, and in the same sense, Osbo always kind of has that Iceman quality to him. I think he has a little bit of an advantage leading out first here because we know exactly what he's going to do. It's extremely one of the high watermark elements that he brings to the table is that ability to just go down and do those 95+ lead runs every single time, and that puts you on the defensive as a chase driver. You've got to follow that. At the same time, there's a reason why Vaughn is a two-time champion, right? He knows exactly what he needs to do.
And when Vaughn put it together for even his 2010 championship, now 11 years ago, Vaughn had a tendency to kind of beat himself. It seemed that like when it really came together for 2010, he harnessed that energy and flowed. I would say the way Matt Field is driving is very similar to that of Vaughn Gittin Jr. back in 2010. Harnessing that energy, focusing in, and knowing that you have the car and you have the talent. If the car is there and you have your mind right, things are going to pay off. Osbo's really progressed as far as technology, access, all of the right things. He's definitely a great driver, but he has a really good, strong track record with Papadakis. You look at how many championships he has, right? And then obviously Odie, kind of privateer, kind of suspension guru, and Odie has shared his knowledge with Matt Field in the suspension. He's running field suspension. So just different schools of thought and seeing where they're at. Like you said, he's in his golden years, Frederick Osbo, and if that's even a thing for Osbo, because Tanner could still be out here.
I say prime, not golden years, prime. Slight difference.
Major difference. I apologize. I'm just thinking of his gold livery. So prime years. You are
golden
correct.
prime.
Golden prime. I have that on Amazon. The golden prime. It's a superior.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to see the maturity of the programs. Obviously, the RTR boys have done a tremendous job in not only the reliability, but the high-level competition of those cars, the fixability of those vehicles, being able to do things that just seem physically impossible. And the same goes for Osbo and the Papadakis racing team. They've been working to try and make the car as reliable as possible, and there was at least one event this year where Osbo had a mechanical going into the finals and wasn't able to battle that out. Seems like they've ironed some of those things out. Now they've got the new power plant, and sure enough, you find him here in the Final Four against Vaughn Gittin Jr.
And Ryan, earlier today we had the Link Engine Management Prospect Championship. This is a similar scenario. Brutsky had to win. Novak was on the other side, right? And then it went to it one more time. So here we are. It is do or die. Frederick Osbo gets the win against the two-time champion Vaughn Gittin Jr. He'll be your 2021 Formula Drift champion. Here we go, Frederick Osbo high on the bank in that outside zone into the first inside clip. Now to the second outside zone goes Osbo and Gittin. Vaughn Gittin Jr. doing a great job mimicking the angle and digging deep in that second outside zone. Now to that final outside zone goes Osbo, both of them pulling up that front right wheel. Vaughn Gittin Jr. loses a bit of proximity and falls back, but still aggressive nature from both the drivers.
Osbo getting a great jump. He's done the same initiation all night. Vaughn and his team know what it is. They try to get right in the pocket. They have just moved from a mid-line up to a high line, a little bit of a gap established, but not much as Vaughn tries to reel him in. Osbo blazing through that inside clip. Here comes Vaughn right into the pocket. Line is super even there between both drivers, so that's an indication that Vaughn is doing the right thing as a chase driver. But Osbo trying to fend him off, moving into this last outside zone. Bumper up against the wall. Vaughn comes off a little bit, and we've got a great start to the Final Four.
And here is Vaughn Gittin Jr. now leading Frederick Osbo, giving chase. Let's see who comes out on top as Vaughn and Osbo. Remember the other side. The other side of this Final Four bracket, Ryan, it bears repeating. If Frederick Osbo gets the win against Vaughn Gittin Jr., he is your 2021 Formula Drift champion. Here we go. Send it. Vaughn Gittin Jr., Frederick Osbo, Monster vs. Rockstar, Ford vs. Toyota. Vaughn Gittin Jr., his last Formula Drift competition as Vaughn leads in that first outside zone, transitioning past the first front clip. Now in the second, Vaughn leads in Osbo. Osbo right there. Is there enough to have a deciding factor here, Ryan? Into that final outside zone. Look at that, Vaughn Gittin Jr. shooting flames and smoke through that K-rail. Ryan, is there enough to decide if there is a winner here?
Man,
right.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, nitpicking, it's hard. I mean, these runs are apparently at first pass pretty even here. There may be some areas where judges can point out something that another driver did better than the others, but is it enough to force it one more time? Is it enough to give that driver a victory? Both Gittin and Osbo are comfortable with each other. They know the tendencies of each other. They have a long historic rivalry with each other, and that is when you get sometimes these just unbelievable battles where it is back and forth, blow for blow. Osbo a little bit tight on that inside clip, coming up a little bit tight on that last section, but you could say the same thing about Gittin in some areas too, and there are very few mistakes. When they're made, they're quickly corrected for, they're done smoothly. Taking a look at the side-by-side, looking at Vaughn in the chase here, you can see Osbo got a little bit of a gap established. Maybe there's a slight differential on the bank in terms of proximity. Vaughn comes down, chases him really strong on that outside zone number 2. Great through that inside clip, nice transition back around. Osbo right up against the wall. Goodness.
Ryan,
and a slight little gap there. You know, I really love those side-by-sides, especially when they time up so perfect, because you can spot those minute differences.
Remind us back to the last year James Dean was going for his championship. Who was that going against each other, and who played spoiler for Frederick Osbo?
No, that was Vaughn Gittin Jr.
That's right, it was. So here we are again. Slide him left for Osbo, right for Vaughn Gittin Jr. That is one for Frederick Osbo. If he wins, here's your champion. Frederick Osbo gets the win. Frederick Osbo unanimously gets the win in that Rockstar energy drink. Toyota GR Supra on Ditto tires. And Frederick Osbo, Ryan, taking a look. Is that how it plays out? Is Frederick Osbo uncatchable mathematically? Frederick Osbo overwhelmed with emotion. He has done it once again. As Osbo is emotional, Vaughn Gittin Jr. roasts out his Nitto tires.
That was a win by the slimmest of margins. I understand why the judges went that direction. That last overhead, looking at the side-by-side comparison, you saw a little bit of proximity difference from Osbo on the big bank and also on outside zone 3. He is obviously overcome with emotion here. He still has some work to do, but he's going to the finals, and in doing so, he becomes a guy that adds to a group that has a rare number of people in it, and that is multiple-time champions.
Wow, the emotion overwhelming. Lorette Nickel down there. Lorette, I'll let you take it.
I don't even know if I'm going to be able to hold it together. For Frederick Osbo is just so overwhelmed with emotion. Frederick, everyone is so proud for you. Unbelievable, your second championship title, Freddie. The 2021 Formula Drift champion. You have been waiting for this moment. Can you even talk about why you're so emotional right now? And Von Gittin Jr. over here shaking his hand.
I'll see you around, my friend.
Thank you, mad respect.
Congratulations to you and your team, man.
Thank you.
Good job, buddy. Great work.
Frederick, take a breath. I know, this is unbelievable.
Hey,
Can
Lorette.
you talk about this win?
Yeah, I'll try. I'm sorry, everyone. I have so much respect for everyone here. Chelsea and Matt on my tail all year, Odie, everyone else. This is by far a much, much harder fought championship than the one we won in 2015. And I've been here chomping at the bit every single freaking year. And, you know, the boys have given me better and better cars. We're you know, it's amazing. I had a dream last night that my parents will be here, and they're not, but they're here in spirit. So thank you, everyone. I'm sorry. Let me get ready for this freaking final.
There's nothing for you to apologize about, Frederick. That is unbelievable.
It's we have this car. It's an amazing car. We're still half the displacement of the rest of the field, and you know we're fighting with tooth and nail with everything we have, and here we are. In the famous words of Reese Millen, it's hard to drive like a man in a chick car, and you know I'm just ready now to head over to my team, give him some round applause and some hugs for this. Is freaking unbelievable. I'm gonna do a burnout now.
We're moving. We're getting out of the way. Congratulations to Frederick Osbo, our 2021 champion.
Nearly taking out the golf cart.
Yeah, almost taking out the golf cart, but congratulations to Frederick Osbo, your 2021 Formula Drift champion. He did it in 2015, second place in 18, second place in 19, and he delivers here in 2021. Hey fans,
that's unreal.
As we celebrate with Frederick Osbo, he still has the opportunity to get the win overall. Just like we saw in Pro Spec earlier, Brutski, you know, he gets the championship, and awesome turn of events. He gets second place, but we'll see how this ends up. But real quick, hey, the fans, we thanked Daijiro Yoshihara for all he did for the Formula Drift family, and Von Gittin Jr. is defeated, but I would really like for you, the fans, to thank Von Gittin Jr. So on 3, if you could say thank you, Von, as loud as possible on 3. Again, on 3, say thank you, Von. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Von. And stomp your feet for him. Von Gittin Jr., 2-time Formula Drift champion, and now another 2-time Formula Drift champion of Frederick Osbo. As a celebration there in that Pedal Commander burnout box, let's keep it going. There's Rockstar, Toyota teammates, Nitto tires. Now second place in the championship. Let's find out where they end up.
Thank you, every single one of you.
All right, gentlemen, get out of the burnout box. We got some racing to do.
Yeah, sorry, I'll move. Yeah, all right, thank you.
And exit stage left. Next, we have Odie Bakchis and Matt Field. The frenemies. The frenemies meet in the Final Four, Ryan.
The only thing that is unset at the moment is the final podium. The championship is locked in. Frederick Osbo is your champion. Matt Field is going to be second. Chelsea Denofa is going to be third. And Odi Bakchis still in the mix here. Actually, with Odi, he still has a possibility to potentially take out third place or get close to it if he's able to get into the finals here. That is unbelievable. Looking at these numbers now as they're kind of dropping in and we're doing the scenarios, there is the ability to change the overall championship podium.
Yeah, that would be absolutely tremendous for, I mean, a Field, an absolute weapon. There he is, Matt Field. He's got his team, he's got his pit bikes, got the, again, that suit being auctioned off by Momo. Again, breast cancer awareness, the pink suits, the pink shirts, the pink Type S lights. Here we are in the Type S, top four. The frenemies, Odi Bakchis, Matt Field, both on Falcon tires. Which one will be joining Frederick Osbo in the finals? Yeah, and Ryan, you're doing some different scenarios here. And you're saying if Odi gets the win here, Denofa will be outside looking in, talking about Odi would assume the third place position and Chelsea would be knocked down to fourth. All right, and here we go. Our second battle of the Final Four. Wow, a lot of scenarios here. Matt Field warming up his Falcon tires. Odi Bakchis already on the start line. Ryan, just a range of emotions from earlier pro spec, the championship, the win, Daniel Stuckey, you know, back-to-back wins for Dimitri Brutsky, talking about Dai Yoshihara leaving, Vaughn Gittin Jr. leaving, Jim Lau, you know, and here we are seeing, you know, these contenders going for it, and now the frenemies are going against each other.
Yeah, and it's more than that as well. It's using the time that we've had in 2021 in the most effective way that we could, trying to schedule these events so that we could make sure that we didn't have the same thing happen in 2020. And along the way, it's always crossing your fingers and hoping that it's going to work out. And we finally got to the last event of the year, and 21 has been reasserting drifting and Formula Drift as one of the most amazing sports in the United States, if not the world. And all the guys along the way have done a tremendous job, and now we're going to be battling out for the winner of the frenemies.
Here we go, Odi Bakchis and Matt Field. Matt Field initiates, right, chasing him down. Look at that angle for both these guys. Having a blast as Odi Bakchis past that front clip. And now into that second outside zone. I mean, they're looking like two teal and blue shadows. Oh, that Field, shots fired, a correction there. Now, Ryan, was the contact made due to dropping the RPMs and dropping the speed? What was your knee jerk?
The knee jerk was, it looked like Odi slowed down right before inside clip one. That's the knee jerk. Let's see if the intuitions hold up here. I mean, this is an incredible start here to this Final Four battle. The mimicking effect is tremendous. Coming in on the inside field, does a great job. Now watch Odi in the lead, right there. Looks like there may have been a little bit of slow. From the overhead, it looks a little bit different though, I'll be honest. Tough call again here, but it's certainly gonna have an impact. We'll go right to the second battle unless somebody needs to take a look at their vehicle.
So Osbo getting his vehicle prepped, fuel and tires. And looks like, are they checking the vehicles? They're going for it. Looks like Odi pulls straight up. Let's see what's going on, getting that overhead view. And potentially waiting for the outcome here. Will Matt Field use his competition timeout? Who's at fault? What's going on? Contact was made, Field in the side. And we could see both cars on the start line, but the point of interest here is if somebody was at fault, and yeah, a real point of interest right now.
Yeah, what you're not seeing is we've got Matt Field spotter up here talking to race control. It sounds like they want to know who was at fault because they may or may not utilize a 5 depending upon, and they're concerned about the potential damage on the car. They want to know if they should burn a 5 or not. They're not going to burn a 5 in one situation, but in another they may.
So basically the fault of contact, and as you said, Ryan, did Odie slow down? If Odie slowed down, that would be Odie's fault. If Field was just being too aggressive, he would have to use a competition timeout, and he theoretically would not utilize that, or him and his team.
Well, they're iced now, so they're going to have to do something.
Yeah.
To put some tire warmth back in the mix.
Yeah, put some heat back into the Falcon tires, but right now, taking a look at it, and Ryan, we're reviewing the Air Force replay. So, as you said, coming out of that second outside zone, did Odie slow down, or is Field being too aggressive?
It's close.
Yeah, it's very close, and if Field is being too aggressive, he made a massive correction, would definitely be reflected in the outcome of this run.
Absolutely. And if not, it's the inverse.
All right, so here we go. And both drivers on the start line. And Matt, they are saying that Matt being too aggressive, and I believe that they are not calling a competition timeout.
Is that unanimous?
Yeah.
Well, it's at least majority, Matt, so.
Yeah, it is. It's unanimous. It's
Okay.
unanimous that Matt Field
Okay.
was too aggressive there on that second outside zone, going to inside clip 2. No competition timeouts.
Well, that's big then.
That
Because
is
it was
big.
Big correction after that.
Yeah, and like we said, if he was being too aggressive and he was at fault and Odie not slowing down, that is a deficit.
Yeah.
So the needle is going the way of Odie Bakchis, with Matt Field having that mistake.
Yeah, the heat will stay in the tires for a little bit, for a few minutes,
Yep.
depending on the setup and the specific tire themselves. But usually these guys do not want to get iced on them.
All right, here we go. So Matt Field with that deficit, he's going to try to throw down a gangster run. And Matt Field throws it in. Nice job by Field. Odie Bakchis all up in the mix. The frenemies right now, looks like Odie Bakchis getting a little out of line, and now contact was made. Odie applying the pressure, banging on the door of Field. If you want to knock, I'll knock, says Odie Bakchis. Down to that final outside zone. And Ryan,
That's
we saw Odie tap him.
That's a very dangerous game that Odie's playing
He
there.
was flirting with disaster.
Given that the judges gave Matt Field fault, because
Right.
now that would swing things in the other direction. However, Field did not get affected by it really at all. So it's just going to be very, very close tandem here, and a knock on Odie for hitting him. But the result of that contact is basically nothing. Matt Field's car does nothing. He stays.
And Odie's car didn't do anything.
Well, he fell off a little bit, so
Yeah.
it's mostly going to be a negative for Odie. But I think the resultant contact on the first one, Matt Fields kind of straightened out, right?
A lot.
Yeah,
You know,
so-
look, you see him kind of push him forward, propel him forward, some wavering, but the repercussions of Field hitting Odie, he straightened out as they went into that second front flip.
Yeah, the negative on Field in the second run, in other words, in order to, or excuse me, on Odie to rebalance things out, doesn't seem like it happened.
Right.
If Matt would have spun or like come out of drift or something like that, then you would be asking yourself the question, oh, you know, did Odie do that? And then therefore you've got, you know, something that equates to it, but if it was an incomplete, it would be a bigger mistake.
Taking a look at our BC Racing Go for Gold custom coilovers, the official suspension of Formula Drift. So, gosh, they both look teal and blue, but that's Matt Field leading on the right, Odie leading on the left.
Yeah, it's really gonna come down to the fault for contact on the first run, because Matt straightens out very aggressively after that happens, and we know that they gave Matt fault. So this is going to be leaning one way based on that.
And our judges deliberating, and quickly, here we go. Odie Bakchis or Matt Field, slide him left for Odie, right for Matt Field. Odie Bakchis gets the win. Odie Bakchis gets the win, not unanimously. So Frederick Osbo, Odie Bakchis in the finals, and Matt Field qualifying 22nd. Vaughn Ginn Jr. qualifying 21st. Vaughn Ginn Jr. gets third place at his final round of Formula Drift competition. The question is, who's going to get the win? Will Frederick Osbo get the championship and get the win at the House of Drift? Or will Odie Bakchis continue his winning success from Long Beach and winning here? He has a win in Atlanta. He has a win in Long Beach. Can he win here? When we come back, we'll find out the Type S title fight here at the House of Drift, Irwindale Speed. Here at the House of Drift, Osbo leading. Bakchis giving chase. Send it. Here we go. Frederick Osbo, Odie Bakchis. The finals here at Irwindale Speedway. Osbo leaving it all out of the track. This is it. His brand new stroke engine leading the pack, the Rockstar Energy Drink. Toyota GR Supra coming down second outside zone. Odie Bakchis trying to fight back. Puts it right to the side of the Toyota Supra. Opening a can of worms. Literally, the can of worms being a Toyota Supra. Oh! And the first mistake, really, we've seen from Frederick Osbo there. Again, comes in leading the pack. #1 qualifier. Champion. Can he make it a perfect event?
Well, Osbo gapped him on the start. You see some difference here, but Odie quickly realizes he needs to pull Osbo back in, and he does that. But we will obviously be taking that into account. However, as you called rightly here, Jared, while it looks mostly even through this section of the course, Osbo does a little bit of a different approach, puts a lot of angle in the car, and does not fully fill that outside zone. Odie has to make an adjustment as well, and he also has a reduction of angle, but that may have been because he was expecting Osbo to go deep into that third outside zone. So Osbo takes away, but then he gives a little bit back, and now Odie Bakchis will take the lead in what could be the last head-to-head battle of the year.
Let's stomp your feet here, Irwindale. Make some noise for Odie Bakchis, Frederick Osbo. Let's send it! Bakchis and Osbo. Odie Bakchis initiates. You can see Frederick Osbo taking a bit of a lower line. Odie doesn't get as high as well, allowing Osbo to gain that proximity. Now to that second outside zone. Look at Osbo on the attack, knocking out some body parts. Headed on into that second inside clip. Osbo grinding in that Nitto tire into the door of the Falcon tire S15. Bringing it all the way through.
You know, just at face value here, intuitionally, this may come down to Odie's lead, because I think Osbo, and it's the irony here is that Osbo usually always has the best leads. This time around, the chase runs, we see some mistakes from Osbo here. And with giving a little bit back on his lead run on that first one, is this enough for Odie? Odie got gapped on the initiation, but he quickly made up ground there on his chase run. So we're seeing the long, hard, arduous day maybe having a little bit of an impact, the adrenaline going up and down and up and down and up and down. It's got to be fatiguing, it's tired.
Just a range of emotions.
Yeah.
You know, fighting for that championship, getting the championship for Osbo. Odie fighting for this. Here's our BC Racing custom coilover side by side.
See, Osbo gaps him there, but then Odie immediately jumps on it, and he's back into equality right about there. So you have to wonder how much weight there is on that. Osbo was able to stay with him longer on the bank, had a couple adjustments, tapped the wall, made it look pretty clean. And you just hate to be a judge in basically every tandem now because they're so close. And then that last little section there with Osbo in the lead did not get to outside zone 3. Is that going to be a defining factor? We've got one judge going in quickly.
And our judges scrutinizing. Do you guys think we have a winner? Make some noise.
I think we do.
Locked in for third place. Locked in for third place is Vaughn Gittin Jr. And we do have a unanimous winner. We'll bring them down to the start-finish line. We do have a winner. And here we go, bringing him down to the start line. Ryan, overall, again, some great driving by all of our vehicles. And bringing them here front and center. And here we go, stepping outside of their vehicles. Make some noise for them. Of course, your two-time Formula Drift champ in the finals, and joined by third place out here, Vaughn Gittin Jr. is stepping away from Formula Drift competition, saying it's not retirement, it's just a goodbye. Make some noise for him, stepping outside of his vehicle, taking off his helmet. Let him know you're here. Odie Bakchis, make some noise for Odie Bakchis. Make some noise for Frederick Osbo. And of course, Vaughn Gittin Jr. Third place here tonight. Again, stepping away from Formula Drift competition, your 2010 champion, your 2020 champion. On 3, let's yell thank you, Vaughn. On 3, 1, 2, 3. And there you have it, pilot of the Monster Energy Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D. Third place here at round 8 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. And now your winner at round 8 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship has won earlier this year, and your winner is Odie Bakchis gets the win. Odie is your winner here in Irwindale. Falcon Tire Field Suspension S15 wins at the House of Drift. And that means second place. And your new champion, pilot of the Rockstar Energy Drink Toyota GR Supra, Frederick the Norwegian Hammer Osbo! Your champion in second place here at the House of Drift, Irwindale Speedway. Going into the late hours, 11:04 local time. And there you see two-time champions joining an alma mater that not many can say they have those accolades and those awards.
Inspiration beyond what you know.
I believe Lorette Nichols down there, she could talk.